It's going to be a reading in the constellation of Aquarius. So if you're in Aquarius right now, hang out for a second. Also, if you have Aquarius placements in your chart, this is also going to be for you. I'm looking at, starting off with the Three of Swords. Three of Swords isn't coming in the past, so I'm looking at some type of struggle or some type of emotions surfacing to the top. And I'm looking at somebody watching you go through it. Right? So somebody close to you is watching you struggle. Right? It's coming up. Also, we're going into the future. I'm looking at a theme playing out. It feels like we're struggling to do something. I'm looking at, this would represent making forward progress, learning some type of new gift or ability, or some focusing or mastering a gift or ability. This is coming in upside down. And then I'm also looking at the cause of the situation is some type of toxicity, whether it's in the mind, in your emotions, your environment, whatever that is. But I'm looking at something holding you back from making forward progress. I can feel like a tunneling sensation, tunnel vision. I'm looking at the number 4. The number 4 represents the stability. So some type of stability that you're going through. There's some type of struggle with. My breathing feels like it's constricted. My dog's starting to snore. So maybe there's something that's a slow moving process that you're going through right now. I'm looking at changes coming in. I'm looking at the Justice card popping up. So whereas in now the scales of justice are tipped against you, but I'm looking at around the corner things brightening up. And I'm looking at the scales of justice tipping out in your favor. Right. I'm also looking at some type of work that's not being done. This would be you working on a project. That project gives birth to a higher timeline, a higher version of yourself. This is coming in upside down. And as we're going into the future, there's a common theme of making yourself do the things that you don't want to do. So pushing yourself to try new things, pushing yourself to do new things. It's going to be really important coming up for you to start to really push yourself to do the things that you don't want to do, especially when it comes to using some type of creative efforts or a creative endeavor. It's the Death card coming out. All right, so I'm looking at some type of, this is the Grave. So I'm looking at an ending, some type of ending we're about to head into. Right. So on the current trajectory, I'm looking at some type of ending about to pop up for you. It's also like a physical death. Some type of disconnect that we're also going through. You got people watching you from the other side. Right, so watching you kind of struggle. So there's guides that you're meant to start working with. So there's something you need to learn, some type of learning process. I'm looking at the 10 of Hearts popping up for you. So as we go through this death that's going to be popping up for you, there's a new... That's my cat, man. I got a 12-week-old cat that's running around, a black cat. I'm looking at the 10 of Hearts. The 10 of Hearts, when we move through this death phase, it takes you into the 10 of Hearts, which is living life a better way, whether that's mentally, physically, or emotionally, right? So sometimes death is a necessary process in our evolution. Sometimes we have to go through death of loved ones, death of ourself, death of situations, death of jobs, death of living environments. So whatever that is, I'm looking at it being a good type of death, something that gives birth to a new experience. The 10 represents entering into a new dimension in life, right? So these death situations give birth to new things. I'm looking at a peak, an upwards trajectory about to happen for you. So right around the corner, it says time to soar at the bottom of the card. This is also the one-eyed bird. Right? In mythologies, this was also the phoenix, right? The colorful bird. All right, so some of you guys, if you're not using your Aquarian gifts and abilities, there's a problem with that. We want to begin to activate that. Right? So you should inspire, influence, and encourage all those you come into contact with just your energy. Right? So what we have to do is we have to get ourselves to a place to where we master yourself in certain areas so that all those around you can see it and use it as an inspiration. Use it as a beacon, a guiding light to help guide them out of their darkness. Right? So if Aquarian, there's a big responsibility on all Aquarians right now in the timeline. So the Aquarians have the full advantage of the zodiac. We are living in the day and age of the dawn of the golden age of Aquarius. Right? So this is giving birth to new psychic gifts in the population. There are new psychic gifts that are being touched and scratched into that most people have never even heard of before. Right? So all Aquarians have energy inside of them that can be used to harness these abilities. Right? So some will access it, some won't. Right, so learning how to influence others, though, is definitely going to be a gift of all Aquarians. Sometimes that's a good influence. Sometimes it's a bad influence. All right, so whatever type of negative things that we're doing, we want to push up off our negative behavior. I'm looking at an evolution popping up for you. So as we break away from toxic behavior patterns, a new trajectory is born. The moon represents the soul's progression through the timeline. How much progress have you made this year? How much progress are you going to make this year? Right, what are your goals? What are your intentions that you want to set for this year? Right, where do you want to be at this time next year? Right, next year sounds like a long time away, but it's really not in the grand scheme of things. You will fucking blink and it will be next year. Right, so if you don't set goals and plans now for the future, then we get stuck sitting by yourself, right, alone on a deserted island, stuck out in the cold, out in the darkness. Right, but when we make plans, beautiful things begin to happen for you. Right, the road opens for you. Beautiful situations are presented to you. Right, so helpful situations. And what we learn to do is we learn down to interact with the divine, pull down ideas and concepts and bring them and ground them into earth. And we learn to teach the others. So make sure all Aquarians are meant to be teachers right now. All Aquarians are meant to become Jesus Christ, to embody that sense of perfection, to perfect the mind, to perfect the emotions, and to perfect your physical experience. Through that perfection, others see that. They want to emulate that. They want to become that, right? So through the soul's perfection, the real you is discovered. What you've been holding deep inside of you will begin to come forth, right? Pours like a well, an open well of creativity, of emotion, of physical interactions with people that come off on a positive note, where we influence those around us to be a better version of themselves, right? And it takes your life into the direction where you have a balanced family unit, right? This is the goal of every person here, is to achieve this, right? The dogs are playing over there, the kids are playing, the family's cohesive, working together. So a lot of people right now don't have that. And if we don't have that, then we have to do everything that we possibly can to achieve that state. Right? This is that timeless state. A state where you don't even realize that there's a world out there. You're so enveloped in your world that no other reality exists. And that's the level we all need to work at. I'm looking at downloads popping up for you. I'm looking at new ideas, new concepts, new ways of doing things. I'm looking at inspiration coming out of the clouds. Right into your mind. Right? So we want to be open to those when they happen, write them down, and make them active. Right? All right, guys, I'm going to end the reading there, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you guys want to book a full session, there's going to be a link down in the description or in the comment section of whatever platform this is on. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You guys have a beautiful day. Enjoy your immortality.